keynote. So I would like to call Paavo Beckman. He's the managing director of startup Catapult International, and now we will hear a presentation on business acceleration from many angles.
Yeah. So we have had a long day, so hopefully I can wake you up a bit and shake up, hopefully as well. At the same time, I really want to give you insights, what is happening in the market. And yes, and if I say honestly, I stole this subject from Seth Godin, business author. And this statement, it sounds a bit bold, but if you really check it out, stats, what is going on in the market, that's not bold anymore. So I go through these insights from the market globally. But before that, I spent 52 seconds and tell shortly my background. So I'm unsuccessful rock musician, so that was my plan, but I wasn't able to do it. But then after that, I have founded 6 companies in Finland, in Silicon Valley, and New York, and London as well, and sold 2 of those companies. And what I have done, especially there in the United States, I built engagement tool, customer engagement tool for big corporations, especially in the United States and in the UK. And nowadays, I'm a founder and CEO at Startup Catapult, so we are #1 innovation headhunter. So what does it mean? So we are headhunting companies, not people. So we are working or have worked for 7 of companies that is here, big international companies. So we work for companies in Nordics and Middle Europe and Southern Europe as well. Those billion-dollar or tens of billion-dollar companies. And we are scanning more than 100,000 growth companies all the time. They don't know that we are scanning them. We buy and license huge amount of data and pick up innovations, best growth companies to those huge corporations globally. And same time, we see a lot of insights. We see what type of corporations are investing in different type of companies, how much, what segments are growing quickly, even though we don't see those yet. But we see that in 9 months, this and this will happen because now these companies have raised more than 1 billion. So these are insights that we try to learn as deeply as possible, and we utilize machine learning, deep learning, and NLP algorithms so that we can handle the huge amount of data out there. But that was short in my background. But if we check it out stats, in the past, world biggest companies, the average age was 67 years. So you mentioned that the combined these companies that were here on the stage, it was hundreds of years. But average age was earlier 67 years. Now it's dropping. Do you know what is today? 15 years. So today, most of the companies in that planet have been biggest companies, have founded after year 2002. But we don't see it. When we go to our office and start to continue things that we have done earlier, we don't understand what is happening there in the market. And do you know what is happening with that number? It's going down really dramatically at the moment. So 10 years from this day, estimation is that most of the companies, world biggest companies, haven't found it today, but tomorrow and after that. And what does it mean? So market is going so quickly. Jens mentioned Jens, you mentioned many times that high speed. And that's the thing that is happening in the market at the moment. That's the maybe reason why you utilize Nordcloud and some other opportunities, what is out there nowadays. But that is huge transformation that is happening now. And biggest companies don't understand it as strongly as they should, because it's huge. And if we check it out, some stats. So global CEOs said last year, that next 3 years will be more critical than last 50 years in their own business verticals. So that understanding is there, but same time it's not so easy to take those steps even though you understand it. But that is something that we are operating all the time and try to understand what is happening there and what these big companies should do. But I go through some stats and hopefully also some examples that you can maybe take some more valuable things to your teams and that you can utilize as well. And if you check it out, stats, and think about biggest competitors out there of your company. The biggest competitor is time. And if you think about second biggest competitor, it's your company. So you should try to do things really quickly because your best competitors and challenger who will disrupt the market will take those steps really quickly. You mentioned 6 weeks, and that's the normal cycle of those best growth companies. And maybe if your competitors utilize those and you don't do anything or you take steps really slowly, you will be destroyed, period. And then if we think about good examples, so JP Morgan, huge company, really old one in the United States, bank and financial player there. And 1-2 years ago, they utilized lawyers in one day daily process, 360,000 hours of lawyers. So it took quite a lot of time, it cost quite a lot, but they thought that they need to do something with it. And they tried to change the whole process and utilize new innovations out there. And they drop it quite dramatically. So guess that how many % they drop it? Say something. 90? Really good one, quite big step. Some other? Okay, we are Finns, most of us, so I understand. So nowadays they use 0 hour. AI take care of all their stuff, all their agreements, and nowadays they have less errors, and customers are much more happy, and that's the level what you should think about. But when we think about new competitors of JP Morgan understood that, hey, now we did amazing thing if we think about our past, but that's the level where our all new competitors are. They don't have those army of lawyers and they don't have those old processes, but when they start do those things, new services, that's their starting point. They think of how we do these things in seconds. And then JP Morgan started to think about how we offer something valuable, new type of services to our customers, and not only try to automate those old services. So nowadays they are investing really heavily in new innovations, blockchain and so on, and so that they can be winner tomorrow as well. And then if we check it out, those new innovations, new opportunities, doesn't matter is it cloud service or machine learning or whatever it is, most of those innovations come from outside of big corporations. They can utilize those, but those start to come somewhere else. And if we think about what is common usually of those cases, they don't have money at the beginning when they start to develop things. But they don't have either old processes, so they can start from the scratch and thinking what is the situation now and tomorrow and after that. So how we can serve our customers much better way. And then they get money when they show results. It doesn't matter how much you need money, but if you show results, you get even billions. That's not the problem. But the problem is that if you can't show even small tests, some kind of business valuations, then you only burn money and time. But if you can show those small steps and results, then all your companies, you have huge amount of resources. But it's not easy to get those resources if you can show even small, valuable steps. And if we think about, all these cases, I go through 4 cases. These are, as I said, these, but that's the reason why I go through this. Think about hotel business. Earlier, Hilton and other players, they said that it's not possible that any new player, small company, come to that field. You have to have these buildings and everything. It's not possible. And then 2 guys who haven't had money to pay their rent, but they have some kind of air bed there. And they started to rent that bed in their living room. And now Airbnb, the biggest hotel chain, and valuation tens of billions. And that is one example. And now when I'm talking about this new transformation and digitalization and so on, most of you think that, yeah, that's true, but not in our vertical, not in our business, because we are manufacturer, we have done this and that, and it's not possible that someone changed that whole business. And it's possible that the old players do the same things and do the business, but the margins are going down all the time because the business is saturated, and someone come with digital services and take the customers and the biggest value, additional value in that business. And then if we think about taxi business, Uber, same thing. They took the whole world basically. And then car manufacturer, they had all those resources, they have everything, decades, but they didn't do it. And then one guy came, not one guy, but one company, and now the value is one of the most valuable company in that sector nowadays, even though they have a lot of problems as well because they are growing so quickly. And they are quite passionate to be the biggest player in that field. But then, last thing is that web retail business. And if we think about Amazon, they are going to all kind of verticals, as we know. So not only web or retail business. And it has been estimated that the valuation is in 5 years more than 1 trillion. It's quite a lot of, it's quite big number. But if we think about Alibaba, and now really often we check it out, when we think about innovations, we think about Western world. I don't know how many of you have really checked it out what is happening in Asia, and that's quite amazing place. So it's good to understand what is happening there. So Alibaba, it's cheaper than Amazon, but it seems that next year their valuation is already 1,000 billion. So these are some kind of insights or some kind of phenomena what is going out there. But then if we think about concrete example, case example, that how these companies can grow so quickly, and these numbers are quite big ones. And if we think about Salander, I took it because there's this Amazon Alibaba case, but Salander is the biggest web store in Europe. But do you know the story how they started? Have you heard about it? Okay, none of you, but I go through it shortly because hopefully you get something valuable, because that's the way how almost all success cases are happening there globally. So there were 2 guys, Robert Gensan and David Snyder, two students in German. And Robert thought that I want to build company that I can sell with huge amount of money, because he read one news that someone sold their company to the Amazon. Valuation was quite big, and he thought that I want to found that type of companies as well. So he founded a social media company in Southern Europe, Southern America, South America, and it went totally, really badly, bankrupt and so on, and he didn't have money to fly back to Germany anymore. But then one entrepreneur from Germany, David and Robert, called him and said, yeah, could you pay our tickets and flight tickets, and okay. Then they came back to Europe. And then they thought that, okay, how about if we start to sell shoes on the web? That could be a great idea. And then they thought, yeah, but do people want to buy shoes from the web, because they can't test it and so on. And so usually we, in a big corporation, we would start to think that, okay, if we want to test it, we need to think about logistics systems and warehouses and payment systems and inventory and so on and so on. But how they did it, they thought that, okay, we don't have money, but we want to evaluate this opportunity, because they thought that if they could have much more shoes than competitors, those small shops out there, they could win the game. So idea was of course quite bad, because maybe people don't buy it, but they thought that okay, let's test it. And how they did it, they took camera and went to those shoe stores and took pictures, all of those, and then put it to the web. Create web store really quickly in few hours, and then they had big shoe store. Okay, great. Step number one, it took hours. Okay, step two is that okay, how we can test that? Do people want to buy those shoes? So they burn some tens of euros and market it, and saw that someone really came in, and they even clicked that buy. And then there were the text that, sorry, sold out, we have so much traffic that we can't deliver that. And people thought, okay, this is great store, so everyone else is using it already, but okay. And then they said that, okay, we'll let you know when we have more shoes and so on. And then next day they thought, okay, let's integrate payment systems. Okay, it took maybe 1 hour and it cost 30 euros. And now they have payment systems that cover all credit cards and so on. And again, more marketing money, 30 euros to the Google and Facebook and so on. And let's check it out, what happened. And then some people came in and clicked it, and they bought it. And they thought, hey, people really want to buy this, and they saw that some kind of more exclusive shoes was the key thing. But they didn't have those shoes. But what they did, they went to those shoe stores and bought it, and put it to the package it and send it to the customer. And okay, that was the step how they test the whole system, that is it possible to sell shoes there on that web store. And after that, they find, they test and learn, and then they found the really secret sauce how to do it. When they test it every day. And really quickly, their revenue started to jump up really, really dramatically. Their revenue jumped up in few years to billion. And that's the way how those most successful companies take these things. When they think about new businesses, how they create totally new type of way to do all things. because there were a lot of web stores, fashion web stores in Europe, but what was the secret sauce of Salander? It was that we didn't know how this should do. That was what Robert said, that if they would know how this web store, fashion web store should go, they would do it totally same way than all competitors. They didn't know anything about it. And they started to test and learn, and suddenly they was the winner in whole Europe. It's the biggest web store in Europe. And that's only one example, and really easily we think about, yeah, that was B2C business. How about B2B? Because we are in some kind of traditional and real business. This is not any kind of fancy stuff. We do big thing. But it's the same thing if you think about what is going on in the market at the moment. New players come in your field and digitalize one or some part of the process, and suddenly clients want to play with them. You do that city stuff there where margin is really low, and someone take that most valuable thing from your pocket. And that's what is happening there all the time. And that's really important to think about that speed, because market is taking steps so quickly that if you can't take those steps, you've lost the game. I thought that I show, this is last slide. I pick up some stats. So I aggregated some of our scanning stats. So if you check it out, these yellow blocks. So I mentioned that we go through more than 100,000 growth companies all the time. And last year we analyzed that 20,000 of those are really relevant or playing in the right type of field for our clients. And then we put more advanced criteria and found that, okay, 6,500, they are more advanced in that field. And when we analyzed those companies, we found that 460 companies are the winners. Those companies will destroy the rest basically and change those business verticals really dramatically. And then we analyze those companies more deeply and think about which one of these could solve that our client problem better way. And then we introduce 152 companies. And that's not so important. But at the beginning of this year, or in February, we analyzed all these companies and thought that, okay, our data show that these are the players that will destroy quite many companies in the field. And we analyzed those and we found that those are growing like a hell. So those companies, they raised in a month. So after our validation last year, between end of December, they raised 376 million euros during those months. And after that, they have raised quite a lot of more. Because when we check it out in February, we saw that, okay, it's growing like this. But these are only numbers in 2017. So if you think about how quickly you can develop new things internally, if you build everything by yourself, doesn't matter is it some kind of data center or whatever it is, but there are a lot of opportunities out there nowadays that you can pick up and take steps really quickly, and you can pick up those best things without doing those things, and you can create partnerships, all kind of deals, or even get exclusive license deal in your own business vertical and so on. Or you can be in the situation really soon if you invest in or acquire those companies that you get revenue every time when your competitors make revenue as well. So that was some kind of overview of what is happening there in the market, and same time some kind of reminder that when you think about development steps, think about how you can take those first steps as quickly as possible. It doesn't mean that you can do big things really quickly, because as Jen said, that you need to first think about those first steps. And that's something that I would like to underline really, really strongly. Because winners do it, and they really can show the clients that they can deliver new things and bring much more value than those competitors who really can't take those steps. So that was my keynote, and hopefully I give you some kind of ideas or question marks at least that you hopefully need to think about more. And I will hang around a bit here before I need to leave, but it was great to be here. It was great to hear other speakers as well, and hopefully we have a great party time after my talk as well. But do you have any thoughts, or if you want to challenge me, or if you have questions, please, I'm more than happy to hear those. I think that now if we check it out stats and check it out investments and growth rates, AI and ML is the thing that come to all verticals, all business verticals, and it's the numbers goes like that every month. We haven't seen that type of situations earlier, so it's really difficult to find any kind of business that AI doesn't change really dramatically. It doesn't matter, is it cleaning or whatever, but that's the situation. And yesterday it was in Pasila, Lassila at Tikanoja, they had an automated cleaning machine, and like quite big one, but it went there and everyone took out, what? There were a lot of people, and they checked out that where's the driver, but that's the thing that now it feels that yeah, this is amazing. But if we really think about what is in the market already, when you combine AI to different other softwares and tools and data and what type of predictions you can do, because some companies already make orders to their warehouses, or AI does it, and they predict 90 days in advance what they will sell. So they don't buy anything by themselves, but AI does everything because it does those predictions as well. So when you combine a lot of data and AI, then you can understand your customers much more deeper way, and you can create totally new type of businesses. And in many verticals, the current business will be some kind of base where you start to build the new businesses. So yeah, that's what is happening there in the market. Anything else? Any questions or? If not, I really want to hope that we have a drink somewhere and we have a good chit chat together here during this night. Thanks a lot from my side.
Thank you, Paavo.